History at Play would like to welcome you to a special live stream performance of Tinseltown Inventor, the most beautiful woman in the world, Hedy Lamarr. Please note, no video recording of this performance is permitted. Tinseltown Inventor has been featured in the Boston Globe, WHDH News, and the Associated Press. The performance preceded the Northeast premiere of the PBS Masters film Bombshell. The Hedy Lamarr story, WBZ Radio states, "History at Play is a one-woman force of nature. It takes people like them to bring these stories to life, these lost pieces of history." This immersive living history performance is presented by History at Play. Founded by Judith Calaora in 2010, History at Play chronicles the lives of influential and often forgotten women. Judith is a professional actress, writer, living historian, and educator. She holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Syracuse University. After the program, you will have the opportunity to ask questions, first of Hedy Lamarr, and then of the performer. For more information on where to see History at Play portray other influential women, you follow them on social media under the handle History at Play and visit historyatplay.com. And now, we invite you to enjoy Tinseltown Inventor, the most beautiful woman in the world, Hedy Lamarr.
Finally, I made it to London, and I was free. And while I was in London, my agent contacted me and told me there was an American motion picture producer who was looking for new European talent. His name was Louis B. Mayer. I had never heard of him before, but I went to his hotel room, and Louis B. Mayer looked me up and down, and he said to me, "A woman's derriere is for her husband. It is not for the public to see." Of course, I knew what he was referring to. The motion picture ecstasy that I had done when I was only 17 years old. But I could not help but notice that while Mr. Mayer was saying this, he was staring at my derriere. Daddy Mayer, as he liked to be called, wanted his actresses to be prettier and purer than anybody else. But he had no problem philandering with them himself. Daddy Mayer offered me $125 a week for 6 months. I walked out of the hotel room. I don't think anyone had ever walked out on Daddy Mayer in all of his life. He was used to dealing with Swedish shampoo girls. He was not used to dealing with Hedy. I knew it was a rotten deal. But then I discovered that Daddy Mayer was going to be taking the French ship Normandy back to America. I sold some of my jewels and I bought a ticket for the ship, and I made sure whenever I walked by Daddy Mayer on the Normandy, I had a parade of men trailing behind me. Daddy Mayer may not have liked the reputation that I received from ecstasy. But he could not deny that I had star power. When I walked into a room, people stopped talking and they stared at me. I don't think they ever listened to anything that I said, but they stared at me. I took to negotiating a contract with Daddy Lamarr while I was on the sea. This time, the conditions were a little bit different. I was to make $500 per week for 7 years on 3 conditions. I had to learn how to speak English. I had to lose some weight. And I had to change my name. Well, I knew I could learn how to speak English if I tried. I already knew how to speak 3 languages: French, German, and Czechoslovakian. I learned how to speak Czechoslovakian in 3 weeks' time while I was filming Ecstasy. And I knew I could lose some weight if I tried. And I had already changed my name once when I had married Fritz Mandel. Why not change my name again? This time for an altogether better reason. It was Mrs. Lamarr who suggested that I be called Hedy Lamarr. Oh, it was perfect. You know what Lamarr means? No? Lamarr means of the sea. And here we were, sailing on the sea. I did not realize Lamarr was the last name of one of Daddy Lamarr's favorites, Barbara Lamarr. She was a silent film star, and she died when she was only 29 years old. I did not know if Mrs. Lamarr was giving me a blessing or a curse. When I stepped off the gangplank of the Normandy in 1937, I was already a star. But once Daddy Lamarr had made me a star, he did not know what to do with me. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I waited without even a whisper of a role. I was so bored. I had to go out and meet people. Otherwise, I would get into trouble. One evening, when I was out in Hollywood, I met the most beautiful man. His name was Charles Boyer. And he wanted me to play opposite him in his next motion picture called Algiers. There was only one problem. Algiers was being produced by the United Artists Agency. And I was signed with MGM. I went to Daddy Lamarr. Daddy Lamarr, please loan me out to the United Artists Agency. At least you will make some money off of me. He agreed. And I made my very first American motion picture with the United Artists Agency. I will never forget when I went to see the motion picture in the picture house. I was there with my friend, and it was the very first time I saw my face on the big screen in America. And I knew I was born to be a star. And all over the critics' mouths and in their reviews, you could hear them say, "Take me to the Casbah." Algiers was a success. And all the girls, they started to color their hair dark like mine. But even with the success of Algiers, I waited 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I waited without even a whisper of a role. I was so bored. And there's one thing that I cannot stand. It is boring people. Boring people don't have to stay that way. So I decided to create a new role for myself. I purchased a drafting table and I set it up in my home in Beverly Hills, and I created a new role, the role of the Inventor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a very small portion of Tinseltown Inventor, the most beautiful woman in the world. Me, Hedy, Lamarr. That is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to ask questions of me. So I will take a moment and I will set up a little place for me to sit, and then I will get a little box through which I can read your questions and your comments to me. Please remember that for me, it is only 1942, so I can only answer your questions for events pertaining to and before 1942. I look forward to hearing some of your questions. Perhaps you'd like to know what I invented. Let me go get a little box through which I can see you, and I will return in a moment. I love you. Bye-bye. Oh, very good. I see there are some good questions already. Hello. Let's see what we have here. All right. So, hello, Jean Harmon. Hello. I do not know who Judith is, but I will say hello to you. Kathy, she is in her regular seat. I am so happy. I would be very afraid if someone stole your seat. Emily Hawkins, she says, I love it. It is so funny and awesome. I am so confident. Yes, how could I not be confident? All I have to say to you, my dear, all you have in all of the world is your confidence. If you do not have your confidence, you do not have anything. Never forget it. No one can take your confidence away from you except for you. Remember, Emily? We will see. I will put this up a little bit so I can stand a little closer to you. From Richard Silva, he says, Hedy, could you talk a bit more about my inventions? Oh, of course I will tell you about my inventions, Richard. So, I will tell you first about the invention for which I am most known. It was World War II, and we are in the middle of it right now, and the torpedo systems are very ineffective, you see. When I was married to my first husband, Fritz Mandel, he was supplying and still is supplying for Benito Mussolini, for the Nazis, and for the Heimwehr, which is the Austrian Home Guard. Despite the fact that he is Jewish descendants, he is an honorary Aryan. But when I was sitting at the table with all of the Nazis and Benito Mussolini, they were speaking about the weapons systems that they were using, and most notably how inaccurate the torpedo systems are. So I thought, what could we do to create... Oh, I look like I am so very short. So let me lower the camera a little bit. So what could we do to create a torpedo system that would allow us to ensure that every torpedo hit its target? And I wanted those targets to be German U-boats. So I created, with a good friend of mine named George Antheil, he is a musical composer, a secret communication system. I want you to imagine a player piano. You know a player piano? It plays its own songs, yes? So, my good friend George Antheil had designed player pianos to play synchronized all at the same time. And I thought to George, what if we could design a transmitter and design a receiver to play a song that nobody else knew, that the enemy could not follow. But to everyone else, it sounded like random frequency hopping, random radio frequencies. So imagine there is a transmitter in the naval warship and there is a receiver in the torpedo, the weapon. As long as you can start the song to play at the exact same time, as long as the radio frequencies are constantly hopping, changing very, very quickly, if the enemy tries to discover what radio frequency we are communicating on and they jam the signal, it does not matter because we will already be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 radio frequencies down the line. We will be constantly changing, constantly frequency hopping. So how do we compare this to the player piano? Inside the player piano, there is a scroll roll. It is like a ribbon that is wrapped around a cylinder, and the ribbon has holes inside of it. And through the holes there is air that comes through and it will depress or push the correct key on the piano. I'm also a classically trained pianist. So George and I decided, what if you could have a time code or a scroll roll inside the transmitter that was exactly identical to the time code or the scroll roll inside the receiver. It would be just like taking two player pianos and having them start playing synchronized at the same time. As long as the song starts at the exact same time, those time codes will spin and they will constantly be frequency hopping. And because the frequencies will change so quickly, when the enemy tries to jam the signal, it does not matter. We are already hopping many frequencies down the line. Do you know what? You use this technology today. I will comment on that in a moment, but we have a different word for it now. I call it frequency hopping, and George and I call it a secret communication system. We submitted to the United States Inventors Council, and the patent is registered in 1942. It is very exciting. I hope the military will use it soon. Let's see what other questions we have here. Oh, hello, John Cole, from John Zenko. My education background. So somebody asked also where I was born. So, Jean Hammond. I was born in Vienna, Austria, and I grew up in a little village called the Cottages. And the Cottages is a very affluent community in Vienna. There are many artists and philanthropists. They reside in the Cottages. It is a very beautiful place to grow up. I could walk to the Wienerwald. Do you know what the Wienerwald is? You do not know what the Wienerwald is? It is the Vienna woods. So my papa and I, we would walk to the Vienna woods together, and my papa would point out all of the different motorbike and streetcar and the trolley and the autocar, and he would say to me, Hedy, this is how it works on a mechanical level. This is how I got my love for inventing, you see, and for machine and engine and so on and so forth. So let's see. How do I learn all of the languages? Emily, I am very good with languages. I think some people are very good with phonetics and language, just to begin with. Remember, I grew up in Vienna, Austria, and because of that, I am surrounded by many different countries, and we all speak slightly different languages. So it was easy for me to learn languages from a young age to begin with, because already we speak German and already we speak French, because we are very close to Belgium, and they speak French and they speak Flemish. In Belgium, we are very close to France. And so because we are surrounded in Europe by very, very many different languages, it is very easy. The hardest language for me to learn was English. It does not make any sense at all. So I'm always listening to my English lessons or playing on my phonograph, Berlitz English lessons. That is what we use as a Berlitz English lesson is the name of the company that I use. So, let's see. My educational background. John, hello John. My educational background, I went to an all-girls finishing school in Switzerland, and I dropped out when I was 16 years old, and I never went back to school. So, that is my educational background, John Zenko. I am a 16-year-old, but you say high school, I say secondary school, or for us it was finishing school. I am a 16-year-old finishing school dropout. So let's see. Rick, we already talked about where I am from. I am from Vienna, Austria. I'm glad you are joining us. Hello, Rebecca Souza. It is good to see you today. How was it working with Claudette Claubert, Clark Gable, Spencer Tracy in Boomtown? Joseph Smith, can I tell you a little secret about Boomtown? It was a difficult movie to work on. I personally enjoyed working with Clark Gable in Comrade X. If you have not seen Comrade X, you should see it. I am very good at comedy and physical comedy. I did a motion picture with Bob Hope called My Favorite Spy. And you know what happened when Bob Hope saw the movie, the motion picture? He was so upset because I am funnier than he is. And he asked the editor to edit out all of my funny bits, all of my good funny parts. I was so upset when I watched the motion picture. I said, this is not a motion picture that I was a part of. Nevertheless, Boomtown I was very unhappy with my role in Boomtown. There was not much to it. I was just sort of femme fatale. But nevertheless, Claudette Colbert is absolutely stunning and such a wonderful woman to work with, and a very talented actress. Spencer Tracy, I hate working with. I will tell you, please, you must all promise me that you will not tell anyone this. I am giving you Hollywood gossip today, okay? In the last moments of our HAP and chat, I will tell you what Spencer Tracy do. He is a practical jokester. And whenever I was filming with Spencer Tracy, he was always playing some sort of trick on me. For example, I was filming a scene where I was supposed to sit on Spencer Tracy's lap. And when I go to sit on his lap, pardon me, I sit down and Spencer Tracy had stuck a banana up his pants. And that was what it was like to work with Spencer Tracy. Clark Gable is like my brother, but he always takes out his false teeth and waves them in my face whenever we are between shooting our scenes. All right, very good. We only have another minute left, so I will take this moment to introduce my alter ego. Hello, everyone. I'm dealing with a little bit of camera angle stuff. Our live feed I had the live feed going from 6 p.m. and it shut off for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. So the camera angle is a little bit weird right now. That's why it's a little low. And I just wanted to say my name is Judith Kalaora. I'm the artistic director of History at Play. We are an educational entertainment troupe. We bring immersive living history performances around the United States of America and also into your homes through live stream due to COVID-19. And we will continue bringing performances into your homes even after these isolation mandates have lifted, because it is a wonderful way to meet people from other parts of the country that I would not have had a chance to meet. We chronicle the lives of influential and often forgotten women. So all of our programs are about women who did amazing things and helped society, but may not have gotten as much credit during their lives or after their lives for what they had done. We have 6 solo performances and 2 ensemble programs that tour around the United States. This Friday evening, we are doing our wonderfully exciting performance called World War Women, and that will take place on our private group page. So if you go to History at Play, which is the page you're on right now, and then you go under the photo banner, you'll see it says Visit Group. Go to Visit Group and it'll bring you to Pay Per HAP. If you request to join Pay Per HAP, we just ask for a contribution, pay what you can, $5 to $25 per viewer. So that's just to support History at Play during this crazy crisis. We lost over 40 of our contracts and counting. And so this has really been the reliance and the support of our patrons like you that have kept our company to continue surviving, and will hopefully keep on chugging through the end of this, however long it may go. I intend to keep bringing living history into your homes. So $5 to $25 per viewer. Please do contribute by Friday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The performance is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We bring you HAP and Chat free of charge, but you're always welcome to contribute. It means a lot to History at Play, to living history, and to me personally. Every week we do pick a winner, and I want to see if our person that I selected is here. Let's see, is Tim Gaffney Jr. here? Tim Gaffney Jr.? Are you here? What do you think I should do, folks? If Tim Gaffney Jr. is not here, do you think I should give the prize to someone else? I think we'll wait a little bit. We'll leave this up. We'll hope that he sees the live video that we'll keep up for a few more days, and we'll send him a prize. Tim Gaffney Jr., make sure you direct message me. You are the winner of this week's HAP and Chat. We're going to send you some great prizes. So thank you all very, very much for joining in too. HAP and Chat, ding! And we hope to see you again next week. Next Wednesday, we'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel. Please do contribute. And Friday evening, we are dedicating our World War Women performance to a wonderful Navy veteran named Norma Lewis, who passed away last year, who I was fortunate to meet when I got to perform the program in Louisville, Kentucky for Honor Flight, which is a wonderful organization that brings military veterans to Washington, D.C., all expenses paid trip. I love all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe, and promise me that you will make history. Goodbye from Hedy. Ciao, ciao.